Hello and welcome back to my studio. I'm Kara of Lady Fox Stitches. I'm a long-arm quilter located in northern Nevada. Today I have a few customer quilts to share with you. I also have 2 tips that if you do them will make your long-arm quilter very happy. Let's jump right in. The first tip I have for you when sending a quilt to your long-arm quilter is to label the top of your quilt top. I have an example of this using one of my own quilt tops. This quilt top was made in a group that I attend at my local museum. This is a top that is very directional. As you can see, there's these trees, and arrows, things like that. And there's definitely an upside to this quilt. So what I've done is to remind myself when I go to long arm quilt this, that this is the top of the top. And I just used a piece of painter's tape that I wrote top on, stuck it on there, and then I ran my warm iron on it. And that keeps it from curling up, because painter's tape a lot of times will curl up on the edges. But it's a simple little thing that will make your long arm quilter extra happy just by labeling the top of your top. And that goes for backings as well, especially if there's something directional in the print or the fabric. Make sure you just quickly let your long arm quilter know that there is a top to it. That way, when it's loaded, they're loaded together correctly. Because sometimes as a long arm quilter, I don't know what you're expecting. I don't know what you have in mind, and I'm actually just guessing. So labeling will make my job, or any long arm quilter's job, a lot easier. And it's a simple thing you can do. Another way you can do it is just to jot down on like a post-it note or a little piece of paper and then pin it to the top. And it will just brighten your long arm quilter's day. So definitely do that. The other thing, especially if you have a lot of seams on your quilt top that come to the edge. So this quilt is another one of mine that I did in February when I was filling all the reds and pink vibes for Valentine's Day. So this is just a scrappy quilt. I took all my scraps, red, pinks, purples, and I just started sewing them together until I came up with a quite large quilt top. So there probably is a direction to this. Actually, I know there is, because there's heart fabric and I want the hearts all going the right direction. So as you can see, there's just tons of pieces, right, that meet at the edge. A lot of seams along here as I've sewn these together. So when I go to put this on the long arm machine, you know, as I lay it down and I'm smoothing it and I'm pinning it in place so I can baste it, sometimes these seams can pop open. We don't tend to backstitch when we quilt, and those stitches aren't secured, especially if you're strip piecing and things like that. So there's a lot of seams that will split. It's even worse if you press your seams open and don't backstitch. So what you do to combat that is to, I'll bring it in, is to just run a little stay stitch right along the edge. And of course, it doesn't have to be pretty. It just runs along the very edge, and it just secures all of those seams so that when I pull on this at all, there's no seams that come apart. The other thing it will do is if you have any edges that are biased, and that happens a lot when you set quilts on point and you have setting triangles. There is, or quilts like this, actually, because some of them just end in there, up in there on, let me find one. I know there's one. Okay, like this little piece right here. As you can see, that is not cut on grain. It's actually very stretchy. And so a stay stitch run along the edge of that will help keep its shape. And that's what you would do if you have any setting triangles or anything like that that happen to be on a bias on the fabric. Oh, look, I messed that one up. I'm gonna have to go in. You can't even see, but that seam is split open and I sewed it with the split open. So I'll definitely have to go in, unpick that, and fix that when it comes time to put it on the long arm. So 2 tips. The first is to label the top of your top and backing for that matter, and then go ahead and make that victory lap, that's another name that people call it, all the way around your quilt when you're all finished, and that way it doesn't lose its shape and the seams do not come apart as we are working with your quilt. First up on customer quilts this week is a table runner. This table runner is called Pretty Petals Runner, and it's a Lori Holt pattern. And in fact, it comes in a kit. It uses charm packs, some background fabric, and then it also includes the binding. This table runner is actually kind of big. It's 35.5 inches wide, as you can see here, and it's 75 inches long. So it's quite large. So it's beautiful. It's cute Lori Holt fabrics. I know a lot of people are a fan of Lori Holt. This uses the line Peace and Plenty. That cute backing or background. Isn't that cute with the little purple little designs on there? Cute, cute. The binding was included in the kit, and I went ahead and bound this for my customer. It's a purple from the line. Super cute. The backing was pieced with kind of these aqua colors, and it's just a bunch of, let me hold it up here so we'll start on this end. Those cute. And I don't think these are Lori Holt fabrics. Little ditzy florals. Cute. So that's fun. I love a pieced backing. Of course, the cute table runner front. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. The pantograph on this, let me bring it in. I did it quite densely. The pantograph is called Bellflower, and it's kind of these little curved tulips that run across the quilt with some leaves and swirls. Really, really cute. It's quite dense, which I think is perfect for a table runner. The thread color is Glide it's called Warm Gray, and that just blends in with kind of this background color that Lori Holt uses in her low volumes. Super, super cute. The batting that we put in this is it's the Quilter's Dream, 100% cotton, but it's the Supreme, which is their thickest cotton batting, and it provides tons of structure. It's not as drapey for sure, and will kind of lay heavy on the table. It'll lay nice and flat because of its structure. So this is a great batting to do with bags and table runners, wall hangings, things like that, especially if you like 100% cotton. That's a great, great batting to choose. Super, super cute table runner. Love it. Want to make one. All right, the second quilt I want to show you this week is a Barn Star sampler. This quilt is all over the internet and has been. There is now a sister pattern that's flower petals or something like that. So it's very similar in style. This Barn Star sampler is gorgeous and I love it. It's quite large, and so it's a little cumbersome to maneuver, but that's all right. I'll try to do my best. Okay. Look at this fun, bold, bright quilt. It's Barn Star sampler. Let me pull it up, get some of the middle of it for you to see. Whoops, I'm doing it really crooked. Look at all these fabulous blocks. Some really nice big ones there, and then medium, down to these smaller ones here. Let's see, where are they? Which way do I move the quilt? This way. You see those smaller ones? There we go. Right here. Nope, they're clear over here. That's funny. The screen, the monitor I'm looking at to make sure I'm in the screen is mirrored, and so makes me move backwards. Really, really cute. So the fabrics my customer used in this are Yoder's Cali and Co. fabrics. She did, it looks like there are some that are not in the line, like this solid, well, it's not all the way solid, but this dark navy blue is not a Cali & Co. that coordinates. So there might be a few prints that she has used to supplement her Cali & Co. fabrics. Really, really adorable. I love it. Okay, so details about this quilt. It's very large. It's approximately 80 inches by 100 inches. So it's very good sized. We chose to use 80/20 Quilter's Dream Cotton Select batting. So that's the mid-loft. It's got a fabulous feel to it. Again, it's hefty because it's large, not because it's stiff. It's really beautiful. The thread color on this with the quilting is Glide in white, and that's because of this nice tone-on-tone white, or white-on-white background that's used throughout the quilt. It's not in every background, obviously, like here's a gray one, right? But these white ones are a white-on-white, and I think that's from the Yoder line. The pantograph is called Diamond Loops, and this is a pantograph by the Longarm League, and it's these nice diamonds that just kind of move across the quilt. It adds a great overall texture. The angles in the pantograph are different than the ones in the quilt, meaning these like half square triangle kind or flying geese, whatever units you want to call those. The angle is like a 45-degree angle, where these diamonds, it's much steeper, and I think it just sets itself apart from the pattern and the quilt blocks just enough to kind of separate itself from the quilt blocks. It blends in, it's just an overall texture. It definitely does not distract in any way from the quilt itself, but just adds a really lovely texture. So this is a beautiful, beautiful quilt. The backing is from the Cali & Co. line. It's this kind of small, multicolored floral print. Really, really cute. So, great job on this one. The next quilt is from a new customer of mine. She recently moved into the town where I live, and I got to meet her recently, and I was really excited because she's a fairly new quilter, and she's just jumped right in. Let me show you her beautiful work. This is also a quilt made with Lori Holt fabrics, kind of like that table runner, although these fabrics are from the line Mercantile. It's sort of a rail fence quilt, although it's not all the way. As you can see, each row is either vertical or horizontal all the way across. Super, super cute. It measures, this quilt measures about 69 inches square. The backing has extra strip sets running down each side here. And then, of course, the center of the backing is this cute like text print, or like advertisements and maybe like, yeah, library type, like receipts and stuff. Very Lori Holt, super cute. The customer asked me to bind it, and so I did, using extra jelly roll strips. from the Mercantile line. I chose to use prints or jelly roll strips that I thought were more solid color looking. I mean, they have little prints on them and whatnot, but you know, this one is definitely like the dark pink. This is definitely the yellow, and so on. So I'm showing you the back. I need to hold up the front. Okay, so like the brown and the green. So they look very, you know, bold in color. I just wanted it to stand out from the rest of the busyness of the quilt. So I thought that was a good idea to do. It's turned out really beautiful, and I'm excited for her to get this back. The batting in this quilt is the Quilter's Dream 100% cotton in the select loft level. So this is the mid-level of batting. My customer asked for a pantograph that was not straight lines because she wanted it to contrast with the many seams, straight seams in this quilt, running both horizontal and vertical. So I went ahead and went with this pantograph called Wishbone. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It looks like a wishbone. And each row nests nice and deep inside each other. So you get this nice, very calming texture that just goes right across the quilt. And with the busyness of these prints, I mean, there's a lot going on with these prints. They're gorgeous. But that quilting, as you can see in the camera, like you can't even see it. It's very, it blends in really well. It just falls to the back. But it up close, it looks really beautiful. Let me see if it shows up on this white print or this cream print. Oh yeah, there we go. Do you see that? There's the wishbone pattern. You can see it there. Gorgeous. The thread color was Glide in Linen, which is a very nice neutral color and looks really well like on this kind of creamy color. But again, it just blends in. You can't even really see it. You know, on these really dark browns, maybe it pops out a little bit more, but overall, it just falls to the background and you don't even notice it. So great job on this quilt, especially for a new quilter. It looks fabulous, and I know she's really, really excited to get this back. Okay, now for an update on my own sewing. I know I've talked a lot about the Liberty Box quilt. It's called Gleaming. It came in the Liberty Box, and I really wanted to get this done by the 4th of July. We're way past that, and I still haven't got this together, although I did make some progress on it. I've got all the larger half square triangles. They were trimmed, and I got them sewn together in their star groupings, and so that's done. I feel good about that, but there are still, look you guys, so many, if I can get them, of the smaller half square triangles that need trimmed. They're sewn together, they're pressed with the seams open, but they've got to be trimmed down, and there's so many of them. I've been putting them off. It's not my favorite job in the whole wide world when it comes to quilting, but I know it's important, and hopefully I'll get to that real soon. And once these are done, then we can start putting those blocks together, and it will be a breeze from there on out, I think. So still working on that, and I'm going to do it. I want to get that quilt top finished. I also chose to start another quilt. I can't help myself. I have a spot in my hallway just off the entryway where I've hung a Heart of America quilt this summer, and I decided I really like it there, and I'd like to put something up in its place when it comes time to take that one down. And I was thinking about what I might want that to be, and I thought, you know, it's coming up on August, what would I want? And you know, August makes me think of garden harvest time and maybe a little back to school. And also there's tons of sunflowers in my yard and also along the highways and stuff. And so I think August is a good time for sunflowers. And so I went looking for a quilt that had blocks that maybe looked like sunflowers or something. And of course there's several out there that were really, really cute. But I came across this sunflower quilt. It's called Scrappy Sunflowers. I'll show you a picture of the cover. This is a Lella Boutique pattern by Vanessa Gertson. It's, like I said, it's called Scrappy Sunflowers, and I ordered this as a PDF pattern, and I'm super excited to get this one made so I can hang it in my hallway. I'm doing it slightly different than the pattern because the background on this pattern is one type of fabric, but I decided I want to use a layer cake of low volumes, and I want it to just be extra scrappy. So I do have to kind of piece some things together so that I can cut them and get the right sizes for the background pieces. So that's going to take a little bit of planning and measuring and stuff. And so I've kind of put that part off, but I did get everything else cut out. I've got the parts for the leaves and stems and the sunflowers themselves. And I, of course, wanted to jump right in and get going on that. And so I've made my sunflower centers. I just went through my stash and in my scraps, pulled out all the yellows that I loved, and I've included them here. So I've got 5 of these made. There's 5 big sunflowers. To finish the flowers, they're going to need some half square triangles, points on the outside, and of course I need some background squares cut for that, which I have not got to yet. But I was really excited and jumped right in with what I could. So these are super fun. They're going to be bright, bright yellow. Got some fun greens picked out and kind of these like gray, gray and cream centers. I think that's going to be really cute. I'm really excited about this quilt, and I hope to make good progress on that here in the next week, along with my gleaming quilt as well. Okay, I think that's all for now. So I really appreciate you hanging around and watching my videos. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. And if you need long arm quilting services, go ahead and check out my website at ladyfoxstitches.com. I'd love to work with you if you are in need of a long arm quilter. So to wrap up, don't forget to do those 2 tips for helping your long arm quilter out. And I hope to see you next time after another week of quilting and sewing. See you next time.